Sorry for being late, but I'm a little long-winded this morning. There's a lot of information to convey, so I'm just going to convey less of it. I'm going to fill you in on what's happening this morning, why it's happening. I'm going to give you a little bit more context into what happened over the weekend and a little reminder of how we got here, because that's important. First up, despite fears, oil prices are actually falling this morning. Why? Well, you'll probably hear a whole bunch of stories as to why, but the real reason is this. This is Vessel Finder, and as you can see, there are still vessels passing through the Strait of Hormuz. So that's why. Although Iran's parliament have agreed to close the Strait of Hormuz, as of right now, it is still functioning. It has not been closed. Mind you, all these ships are paying a premium to go through here, so costs are going to be increasing as those insurance premiums are passed on to you. But for right now, it's not a crisis. Speaking of crisis, because we're always hearing about the nuclear weapons that Iran had, here's a little tidbit that seems to have flown under the radar. Last week, U.S. battery makers declared national emergency after China's antimony ban. This is the same China that the United States is pleading with at the moment to speak to the Iranians to make sure the Strait of Hormuz stays open. There is some really crazy diplomacy happening right now. Because it's June 18th, like a couple days later, despite there being no U.S. intelligence to indicate there are any nuclear weapons or a nuclear program happening in Iran, like a couple days after this, all of a sudden, oh yeah, no, we were wrong. There's a nuclear program happening and we need to bomb them now. Oh, did I mention that Iran has antimony? Yeah, in March, Iran discovers antimony. About 10% of the world's supply. How fortuitous. Bomb the shit out of this country, and now we can talk to them about maybe helping us out. Look, I can be very abrasive at times. I ain't that abrasive. If this were a film, you wouldn't believe it. I also think it's important to give context of how we got here. And for that, we have to go back to 1953. That's Prime Minister Mohammad Mossadegh, democratically elected leader of Iran. Unfortunately, he wanted to nationalize Iran's oil, which was controlled by the UK at the time. So the United States and the UK staged a coup d'etat, removed him from power, and installed him, the Shah of Iran. He was a dictator. Did some good things, modernized Iran, but he was a dictator and caused some problems. And in 1979, the current regime, the Ayatollahs, they overthrew him. There would be no Ayatollahs, no supreme leaders in Iran at the moment if that hadn't happened. If he was allowed to just be the prime minister and they were allowed to continue being a democratic country, I mean, the world would be a different place. Anyway, there were problems out in the Middle East, on and off, until the United States came to an agreement with Iran, and they signed the Iran nuclear deal. And in that deal, Iran agreed to not make nuclear weapons, which these people were constantly complaining about, and the United States would remove sanctions so that Iran could be that economic superpower that it had the potential of being, which really upset these people over here. Yeah, so why did the Saudis and Israel oppose the Iran deal? That's why. The Saudis didn't want to have an economic superpower in the region that wasn't them. And Israel needed a punching bag. Like, I want to be clear here. I'm not, like, naive to what's happening out there. But, you know, the U.S. really screwed things up. And these people aren't helping. Anyway, along came Donald Trump and he killed that nuclear deal. Around the same time, he got rid of the pandemic response team. Oh, by the way, this partly false claim, it's this part, entire. Yeah, he didn't fire the entire team. He just dismantled the pandemic response team and some people got to work in the government still. Why did he dismantle this? The same reason he dismantled the Iran deal. It's because it had Obama's name on it. And that brings us to now. So as of right now, crisis is averted. Let's just hope it stays that way, at least for the rest of the summer.